Hey guys, and welcome to the third part of my series where I show you how you can create such a medieval stone wall using Blender, ZBrush, InstaLOD and InstaMAT. And in the first video we did the block out in Blender, then in the second one we sculpted our base shape for our rock, or one of the rocks. And in this one we're gonna add some crisp details to the base shape, like crisp edges and stuff. And in the first part of the video I will explain things and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And the second part, like maybe the last 3 or 4 minutes, will be just a time lapse, because sculpting is often a long process and explaining everything over and over again, I think this would be too much. Anyway, in the end I will also have some final words to sum all of the process up and tell you what we are going to do in the next one. So yeah, let's just jump straight into ZBrush and let's have a look. So now we will work with proper subdivisions. So by pressing Ctrl and D, we can bump up our subdivision levels. Let's do this like 2 times. So we're now at 3.7 million polygons. That's quite high, but again, we will reduce it at the end. So now at this resolution, we can get really fine details into it. But we also have to take care to not overdo it, as with the trim smooth border brush, it might look too extreme in the end. Let's just check. As you can see, the outcome is way finer than before. So we again want to chisel up the edges a bit and also sharpen them up. And also, as you can see, it's easy to build up such rectangle shapes when you don't pay attention. So we want to get rid of them in the end. So we won't do too much here, just a bit work on the edges. And again, try to vary with the brush size. And also when we have too much of those that doesn't look too nice or too realistic, that's not a problem, or not big of a problem here, as we will be also using some alpha maps, so this will mask it up a bit. And this part will take way more time than before, so I'm probably gonna speed up the video soon. As yeah, it's quite repetitive and it's really all the same process the whole time. And also at this point, we don't want to mess too much with our geometry, as we won't be using Dynamesh again. So do not take away or add too much geometry in this step anymore. So this is basically the final pass before we apply our alpha maps. We can also leave some of those softer edges as well, so we have a bit more variance in the rock. But in general, I want to go more for a bit sharper details. So let's finish up this side and then I'm going to speed up the video. As you can see here, we have such a rectangle that doesn't look good. So let's get rid of it. Same here. Just try to get some natural looking shapes into it. That looks cool. In case the trim smooth border is too aggressive for such parts, you can also use the trim dynamic, for example. So just press B, T and then D. Let's use the same alpha 28. Then we can soften this up. But let's go back to trim smooth border now, for now. So now is the point where you want to add some finer details as well. Anyway, I think you got the point, and I'm gonna speed up the video now and I'll tell you when we are at the next step. Alright guys, that's it for this one. We finished at the base of our rock and sculpted in some crisp details like edges. And again, as always, if there's anything left, just let me know in the comments. I try to explain everything or answer everything. And in the next one we will be finishing up our rocks and apply some alpha maps made in InstaMAT. So make sure not to miss it. And yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.